dealing with shit. I'm dealing.
The world is watching Finesse2Tymes like never before. Viral footage has him chest to chest with J. Prince Jr., tears streaming down his face. A scene that looks like a raw street fight but is actually a visual of decades of systemic pressure and betrayal. On every platform, fans, artists and critics alike are obsessed, dissecting each swing, each shove, each glance. But the blogs aren't telling the whole story. This isn't just a quarrel. It's the eruption of a business empire turning on its own blood. Past incidents from 2023 through 2025. Heated encounters during dice games, affiliates snatching chains, and near brawls that almost became full-blown warfare with a foreshadowing everyone saw but nobody could stop. OG Boo Dirty had even stepped in during 2024 to prevent chaos. And still, the tension only escalated. This latest footage didn't come out of nowhere. It's decades of mistrust, money, and power finally boiling over. Psychologically, it lands because it's the nightmare every artist fears. Being trapped in a system that can lift you up and crush you at the same time.
I'm dealing with shit. I'm dealing.
To truly grasp why this fight shakes the culture, you have to rewind to the summer of 2022. Finesse2Tymes had just returned from nearly 4 years in federal custody for a 2017 nightclub incident in Arkansas, where he allegedly discharged an AK-style weapon. He served his time, emerged like a soldier coming home from war, and immediately became the center of attention. The industry, the fans, and even his peers were watching for his next move. Enter J. Prince Jr., scion of Rap-A-Lot Records, personally escorting Finesse on a private jet, presenting a gold chain, rolling out the red carpet as if welcoming back a king. From the outside, it was a cinematic story of redemption. Underneath, it was the first act of a meticulously constructed trap. The contract he signed with Mob Ties Records, directly linked to the legendary Rap-A-Lot Records founded by J. Prince Sr. in 1986, was anything but ordinary. It promised opportunity, but in reality, it gave Finesse 35% of revenues while Mob Ties took 35%, and another 30% went to JPE, while JPE retained full managerial control. Every creative decision, every dollar from merchandise, tours, royalties, or foreign sales flowed through the Prince family's hands. This wasn't business as usual. It was exploitation dressed as mentorship, a predatory system masquerading as a partnership.
You know what hurt me the most?
But the real pain wasn't in the percentages or the managerial control. It was in the imbalance of power itself. A man who fought tooth and nail for freedom, who risked his life and body for his craft, now found his fate entirely dependent on people born into wealth, who had never known the desperation of incarceration or the grind of the streets. Psychologically, it's crushing. Every step forward comes with invisible chains attached to an empire that moves silently, patiently, and without mercy.
I'm dealing with they daddy worth $300-something million. Bro.
You could hear the hurt in Finesse's voice before he even spoke. The words that followed made it clear. This was more than a contract dispute, more than a label beef. It was a human tragedy, a man realizing that the people holding the keys to his life had been playing chess with his survival all along.
My mom and dad ain't never been worth $10,000.
He spelled it out. Generational wealth and untouchable power on one side, himself scraping to make ends meet on the other. The contrast, $300 million versus $10,000, is the emotional gravity that fuels every viral clip, every tearful live stream, and every fight that's since erupted. That gap, that imbalance, defines the desperation that would eventually explode in violence, public breakdowns, and fractured relationships.
I did all this. Robbed, killed, stole, deceived, fought, died, lied, just spirit. Nigga, you got me.
That desperation was only intensified by what Finesse had sacrificed to get where he was. Years locked up, personal risk, the relentless grind of music production, financial outlays for projects that barely saw promotion, all while the label controlled the narrative and revenue. This wasn't a simple mismatch of expectations. It was a storm of exploitation, ambition, and survival instincts colliding in a single human being.
And I told him the only reading he should have been doing is to reading that contract from Mob.
To fully appreciate the scale of the struggle, consider the scope. A man from the absolute bottom, surviving federal prison, risking body and liberty, only to find that the keys to his own career were held by silver spoon heirs whose father sits on a $300 million throne. The Prince family's reputation for insurance policies, intimidation, and whispered consequences has long been an open secret in the industry. And artists like Zero have publicly detailed similar treatment under Rap-A-Lot. Finesse went so far as to offer to drop 5 full albums just to buy his freedom from the contract, alleging that J. Prince Jr. ducked real conversations, hosted fake meetings, and spent lavishly while his artists struggled to keep the lights on. At 33, with 10 children counting on him, the pressure was existential.
You can't call me out on my education when you just sat right there and turned yourself into a slave, buddy.
Lil Woody on Vlad TV didn't mince words. He flipped the scrutiny directly onto Finesse with one of the coldest assessments of the year, pointing out how obvious the red flags were for anyone coming out of the streets. In essence, Woody was saying, the system was rigged, and the signs were in plain sight. But desperation can blind even the sharpest instincts.
You should have read your own contract before signing your life away.
He drove the point home, laying out that the contract was so patently problematic it didn't require a law degree to see through. Every clause, every percentage split, every managerial control measure screamed predation to those who knew what to look for. And yet, Finesse was caught in the trap, illustrating the cruel reality that survival instincts alone aren't enough when the system is designed to trap you.
It didn't take a rocket science to figure out there was a bad contract. We grow up watching these rappers sign bad contracts. How the world do we sign one? Help me understand.
Finally, Woody posed the ultimate question, the one the culture has been asking since the first viral clip. How do you fight a system built to exploit you from the start, especially when your every move is watched, documented, and potentially weaponized against you? That question lingers over every swing, every shout, every tear, and every moment of desperation Finesse has displayed publicly. It's a cold reminder that in this world, talent alone isn't enough. Strategy, timing, and understanding the power structure are life or death.
Everything you just said proved to be a bad contract. You can't... See, the problem with Finesse is, you can't come over here and try to make me illiterate. However you pronounce it, at least I can comprehend.
That is the million-dollar question, the one the culture has whispered about for years but nobody dared say aloud. How do you survive when every step you take, every move you make, is being watched, recorded, and potentially weaponized against you? Woody reframed the literacy debate not about reading books, but about reading people, reading systems, reading power. Talent and hustle mean nothing if you cannot decode the structure that surrounds you. The contracts, the allegiances, the hidden hierarchies of an industry built to elevate some while crushing others. Finesse's public breakdowns, the tears, the viral footage, all reveal that desperation can blind even the sharpest minds. It's a psychological battlefield, a war where losing isn't just failing. It can cost you freedom, dignity, and the very foundation of your life.
See, you reading. If that kid can read, he reading. What's the purpose of reading if you can't comprehend? I rather comprehend than know how to read.
One more gem from Woody. Desperation is the ultimate weapon in the hands of those who understand the game. When you operate from fear, scarcity, or urgency, even decades of street experience won't save you from being manipulated. Every handshake, every contract, every opportunity can hide a trap. And for Finesse, the trap wasn't hypothetical. It was alive, evolving, and suffocating him. Each viral clip, every live stream, every negotiation was another layer in a cage he could barely see, let alone escape from.
I was in the street, and when I used to rap on the dough and it's like, man, you know Honeycomb from Alabama? I'm like, nah, man, but you like the third.
That's the foundation of this entire saga. The deal, the trap, the inevitable fallout. Watching Finesse and J. Prince Jr. go at it isn't just watching a fight between two men. It's witnessing the explosion of a relationship built on exploitation, broken promises, and survival instincts pushed past their limits. If the contract was the disease, the viral fight was the infection spreading, devouring trust, consuming alliances, and pulling bystanders into chaos. Friends, collaborators, and even family found themselves caught in a war zone they never signed up for. A battlefield where mistakes were amplified and loyalty could be weaponized at any moment.
They can see it like Honeycomb from Alabama. They're like, yeah, man, check him out when you get out. Ooh, you get out, man, he hard, man. You will really like him, man. You remind me so much, honey. Y'all just like.
And no bond was tested more severely than Finesse's relationship with Honeycomb Brazy. Their story begins not in the studio or on a stage, but behind bars. The system that imprisoned them simultaneously orchestrated their introduction, a connection forged not out of convenience but out of survival instinct. Two men, hardened by the streets and incarceration, finding a rare alignment of respect and loyalty. Psychologically, it resonates because it's a reminder that human connection, even in the harshest circumstances, can be authentic. But even authenticity can be manipulated, misunderstood, or exploited.
So, when I got to Atlanta, jailhouse, they had phones. So I was seeing it. So this the Honeycomb nigga they was talking about. So I reached out to him.
At first, Finesse didn't even know Honeycomb existed. It was only through persistent nudging from insiders, those who understood the inside game, the overlaps of federal cases, the potential alliances, that he was told to pay attention to this Alabama rapper. The recommendation carried weight because the insiders knew both men's histories, their temperaments, and the potential for either unity or conflict. That subtle orchestration, seemingly minor, would become a pivot point in their careers, one that would later spiral out of control under the pressures of freedom, money, and expectation.
They were like, you with me, so I reached out, I seen it. You know what I'm saying? My guys, they were like, bro, what you like, he always posting shit. So I reached out, we chopped it up, and it was what it was.
Once Finesse was transferred to a facility in Atlanta with access to phones, he could finally see for himself why Honeycomb was such a big deal. The connection clicked instantly, an alignment of respect, talent, and authenticity that the streets recognize immediately. Their bond was no surface-level alliance. It was forged under duress, tested in silence, and validated by shared struggle. Here was a rare example of two men from the bottom recognizing the real in one another, creating a relationship that had the potential to survive anything, except the external forces waiting to exploit it.
Like I said, bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro, fuck me in jail. Bro, fuck with me in jail. I ain't gonna never put no cap in there, but like it is what it is.
Once communication opened, Finesse's circle confirmed that the connection was mutual. These weren't casual acquaintances. They were thoroughbred street rappers whose credibility, loyalty, and life experience validated each other instantly. In a world where trust is rare and betrayal is common, this bond represented something almost sacred, a fragile island of authenticity amid chaos, which only became more dramatic when pressures outside their control began to weigh in.
Christian with me like my man, but he on the phone, he want me to Zelle. I don't even know what the Zelle is.
Finesse made it crystal clear. Honeycomb's support was authentic, proven through sacrifices that few could comprehend. Honeycomb had turned down a $40,000 feature from Moneybagg Yo, and even sent Finesse $1,500 from his own family funds while locked up. To the casual observer, it's just money. But in reality, it's a declaration of loyalty, trust, and shared risk. When a man behind bars sacrifices his own safety and resources for someone else, it's a profound gesture that cannot be quantified in dollars. It's the language of loyalty, tested and proven in fire.
So it's like, but can you go and send a name? And when I wasn't able to do it, when he wanted me to do it, it became a show. So it wasn't like I didn't want to do it.
But the story doesn't stay simple. The moment Finesse touched down in 2022, timing collided with expectation. Honeycomb requested support for his mother. Finesse, just out of federal custody and still disoriented, couldn't deliver immediately. That small delay, a gap of days, not weeks, was enough to ignite tension, illustrate the fragility of trust, and demonstrate how ego, pride, and circumstance can convert loyalty into conflict. It's a human truth. Even authentic bonds can fracture when external pressures collide with personal limits.
And what's weird is, Yeah, and you had the situation where Honeycomb Brazy was staying mob ties. He was like, and he was staying loyal to Finesse2Tymes while he was locked up. And he turned down the bag for Moneybag Yo, like you said, right?
That moment became the spark for the beef. Money was never the central issue. It was timing, pride, and the inability of two men forged in the trenches to communicate without letting ego dominate. A single misstep spiraled into diss tracks, social media trolling, and public accusations. What began as a miscommunication became a cultural spectacle, amplified by an audience hungry for drama and a system ready to exploit every misalignment.
But then Finesse2Tymes, one of his first videos is with Moneybag Yo when he got out, which is an odd look, man.
He got 4 deals.
Finesse eventually sent the requested funds, thinking the storm had passed. But silence is rarely stable in the streets, and it didn't last. Diss tracks escalated, social media battles flared, mothers were dragged into conflicts, and snitching rumors exploded. Ego, pride, and the court of public opinion transformed a simple timing issue into a full-scale war. Every step, every post, every gesture became loaded with meaning, creating a pressure cooker of emotion and public scrutiny.
Well, when you saw, that means your attention is to you hyena, you just feeding at the mouth for some green, some money. Now, your problem gonna be finesse. Now, it ain't gonna even excite you no more. Your life gonna be miserable because guess what?
Naughty summarized the reality with brutal clarity. Honeycomb stayed loyal while Finesse was locked up, but once Finesse returned, the post-release missteps revealed a harsh truth. Desperation, not strategy, had dictated the deal. And when desperation drives decisions, the system always wins. It's a lesson that resonates beyond hip-hop. The architecture of exploitation preys on human weakness, and even the smartest can be trapped.
It's a lot going on down there in Houston. The club scene's been in
The point was surgical and cold. If you sign from urgency instead of strategy, you will be played. The clauses, the percentages, the managerial control were designed to entrap. It wasn't about creativity, talent, or effort. It was about obedience, control, and the illusion of freedom. Every move Finesse made under that contract was monitored. Every opportunity filtered through hands that never had his best interest in mind.
Telling everybody right now, Whack 100 got a clean slate. If you out there doing foul, crooked shit, leave me alone. I will expose you. I am an exposer.
So if you knew that I was trafficking heroin, you'd be happy to get me caught up?
But here comes the twist. By late 2025, despite diss tracks, disrespect, and snitching allegations, Finesse and Honeycomb buried the hatchet. Why? Because they finally understood that the real enemy wasn't each other. It was the label, the system, and the empire that had been manipulating them both. BWA Kane confirmed a phone call where the two men discussed growth and finally let go of the crumbs they had been fighting over, realizing the table was never meant to feed them properly.
What do you mean, dummy? That mean I'm a snitch? No, idiot.
But you just snitched on him, right?
How?
Well, I guess snitching on alleged snitching.
How?
You just made it sound as if...
Whack 100 framed it bluntly. The culture has long suspected foul play, and he refused to stay silent about people operating in the shadows. The conversation illuminated the scale of power, the silent manipulations, and the reality that in hip-hop, as in life, silence can be more potent than words. As of February 2026, J. Prince Jr. remains silent. Not to Finesse, not to viral footage, not to accusations. And in this game, silence carries a weight that words cannot match. Finesse's legal troubles, feds monitoring every move, and the Prince family's control over his catalog mean that his fight isn't just physical. It's systemic, psychological, and existential. The viral footage is merely a symptom. The empire is the disease. The real question remains: can Finesse ever break free? Or will the shadow of Houston's dynasty follow him for life? Every viewer, fan, and insider feels the tension, because the stakes couldn't be higher, and the consequences couldn't be more real.